Very, very lovely seeing you all. So it's good afternoon in India. It's noon, 12 o'clock noon in India. In Europe, you're just getting up. The Americas are going to bed, I guess. And in Australia, it's late afternoon time. So very welcome to today's session. It's the 6th day of the Days of Miracles. And today we have a very special recitation of the Golden Light Sutra. So we very much hope we're going to make it a worldwide Golden Light Sutra recitation. And since we have students from all over the world, I think it's easy to succeed. So this is so much needed in these times now where there's war in Europe and so many conflicts all around the world. And Lama Zopa Rinpoche always emphasizes the Golden Light Sutra for world peace. So thank you so much for joining us. And I'm looking for the teacher. It's Venerable Namjong, who is joining us actually from his home visit. It's very kind of him to make time on his vacation. He is in Hawaii right now. And I just looked up the time in Hawaii. It's 8:30 in the evening there, so last evening. So we will see. I'm sure he will show up. So I will send him a little reminder in a few minutes. Meanwhile, I put all the resources in the chat. If you checked on our website or our confirmation mail, there you're going to find the Golden Light Sutra right there. So it has been translated in many different languages. Yeah, so you can find your language. And I will just repost the chat in 1 second. And you can find it there. You can find Lama Zopa Rinpoche's teachings about the Golden Light Sutra. Rinpoche also gave the lung of the Golden Light Sutra like a transmission. So many resources are there for you to enjoy. And let me call the teacher because I can't see him yet. So I will zoom out for 1 second. Please bear with me. Thank you so much. So Venerable Namjong is joining us shortly in a few minutes. So I've posted all of you the Golden Light Sutra in the chat. Everybody saw the chat, because when you join later, you don't see it anymore. I can repost it. So you can find the Golden Light Sutra in your language, preferred language, right in there. So since we have a few more minutes, we are so sorry for the delay, then maybe you could check that out. And that, because I'm not sure if Venerable Namjong will share the screen or if he prefers that everybody does it in their own language. Thank you so much, everybody. And I think while we're waiting for Venerable Namjong, why don't we use the time and maybe do a mantra to create some auspicious conditions? Yeah, I think everybody knows Om Mani Padme Hum. Good. I don't have the best voice. Excuse myself. I'm not the person who usually leads the chanting, but we can try, isn't it? And Venerable Namjong will appear very soon. And while we're doing that, I will repost, or maybe Pamela can repost the Golden Light Sutra for the people who join newly, so they see the link, and then you can check that out in your own language. Yeah. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 So the teacher is ready in 1 second. Please let me zoom out 1 second. Maybe Pamela can take over.
Om mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum. Mani padme hum. Om mani padme Om mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum. Mani padme hum. Mani padme mani padme Om mani padme mani padme
Om mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum. Hello, Venerable Namjong. Good evening in Americas.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Thank you so much for joining us today on the sixth day of Miracle. And we introduced yourself. Well, we introduced you already, and we are all ready to go. Thank you so much, Venerable Namjong, for joining us on this very, very special occasion. And especially, I mentioned already how important it is to recite the Golden Light Sutra in these times, especially since there's war in Europe and I mean, so many things happening all around the world. Thank you so much, Venerable Namjong.
Yes, okay. Well, thank you, Kunpen, and I'm sorry to all of you. I am in a time zone where it's still the 7th, and so I had this on my schedule for being, 24 hours from now. So I apologize for my tardiness. But in any case, let us get started. So, every time we get together and we try to do any kind of activity, especially a Dharma activity, then the first thing that is always emphasized is to set a proper motivation. So I think in the title of this series, we said solving all the world's problems through the Golden Light Sutra. And when I thought to do this, it was before the more recent events, I think 12 days ago, with the war happening in the Ukraine. But I think many of you know that this is one of the practices that Lama Zopa Rinpoche has very much sort of emphasized. And he even, I'm not sure if you read his sort of vow to spread this sutra as much as he can. And in fact, it's one of his so-called vast visions that the sutra be recited as much as possible around the world. So later, if you're not familiar with the sutra, when we go through it, you'll see all these various benefits that accrue to those reading it. And there's benefits that, of course, go to the individual in terms of purification and accumulation of merit. But there's also the benefits that go to the very land that the sutra is being recited. So I am extremely happy that there are so many people who are on this Zoom call. It's amazing. So thank you to all of you. There are, I think, around 60 people here, and there's probably others tuning into the other live stream. So thank you very much. I very much admire all of you showing up for this. So now, so that we know that it's not just false advertising, and really that the sutra can do something to alleviate all the world's problems. So then we think of, well, yes, we see the problems of war, we see the problems of famine, economic problems, mental problems, but then actually, as we do in the Four Immeasurable Thoughts, may all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. So one of the, the first teaching of the Buddha was the teaching on the Four Noble Truths. And in that, he first described the truth of suffering, but then not just leaving it at that, but also then talking about the truth of the cause of suffering. And here, the truth of the cause of suffering is the karma and the delusions, the afflictive emotions. And so now, when we think about why we're doing this practice, why we're taking time to recite the Sanghata Sutra, the Golden Light Sutra together, then we should think that this is not just going to pacify the war, pacify the natural disasters and these things, but further than that, help to overcome the causes of suffering. And so how is that done? Well, then of the two causes of suffering, the karma and the delusions, actually the primary one is the delusions, the afflictive emotions. And of all the various afflictions like anger, jealousy, attachment, then the root of the root is the ignorant mind that grasps on to the inherent existence of phenomena. So now, whether we ourselves want to be free from suffering, or we want to help others be free from suffering, we need to either ourselves, cultivate this wisdom realizing emptiness. So here, now in the Golden Light Sutra, you'll see there is a chapter on emptiness. And there it says it's going to explain how phenomena are empty merely in a brief way. But then, reading these texts on emptiness, it sets very positive imprints in our mind that, gradually we'll be able to have the realization. And it's that realization of emptiness that is the one thing that's going to allow us to cut the very root of samsara. And until we do, then, we're bound to take birth under the power of karma and afflictions. And as long as we're in samsara, we're then bound to experience one kind of suffering or another. So that's just for ourselves. Now, when we think along the whole world, right, and doing something to alleviate the suffering of others, well, we need to also help them generate this wisdom realizing emptiness in their own minds. And the way that we'll be best sort of disposed to do that is only when we become a fully enlightened Buddhas. The omniscient mind of the Buddha has all of the skills, has all of the qualities, all the skillful means to guide sentient beings in the most effective way to generate this wisdom of emptiness within their own mind. So there you'll see, in many of the Buddhist teachings, there's this thought that we need to become our own refuge, right? And that the Buddhas, they do not wash away our sins with water, nor do they remove the suffering with their hands, nor do they transfer their realization to another mind stream. But the Buddhas, liberate sentient beings through teaching the reality. Okay, so now this aspiration to achieve enlightenment, so we can be of utmost benefit for all sentient beings, is the mind of bodhicitta. And so now this is the motivation we need to bring to everything that we do, and especially now in this recitation of the Golden Light Sutra. And I think we sent out the Mandala magazine article about all the Rinpoche talking about all the various benefits of the Golden Light Sutra. But some of you might think, oh, this is just kind of Lama Zopa Rinpoche's thing. Well, that's not the case. Actually, I'm not sure if some of you might have read the Lamrim Chenmo, the great treatise on the path to enlightenment by Lama Tsongkhapa. So even in that, he describes in the section on generating bodhicitta that we'll see, in this chapter of confession, all of the various, very beautiful aspirations that are being described there. So Lama Tsongkhapa himself, is also in Lamrim Chenmo emphasized the Golden Light Sutra as a means of meditating and generating bodhicitta. Okay, so these realizations like bodhicitta and emptiness are very difficult to manifest, to realize. And so even before then, just like Lama Tsongkhapa did when he was teaching, he was not satisfied with his understanding of emptiness. So he went on a retreat in Ulka. Some of you know the famous story, where he then took 8 disciples with him, and then they engaged in a purification practice, right? So just like the mind is like a field, and before one can have a good harvest in that field, one then has to remove the rocks and fertilize. So too, the very advice that Lama Tsongkhapa received from Manjushri in order to, receive and attain realizations was to, make supplications to one's own guru, who one sees as inseparable from the Buddha, and then to make great effort in the accumulation of merit and the purification, and then to study and meditate on the extensive texts. So now, then for us beginners, also Pabonka Rinpoche in the Liberation of the Palm of Your Hand is always emphasizing the need, and Lama Zopa Rinpoche following this, the need for purification practices. So now, also this Golden Light Sutra, the chapter on confession, is again very much recommended by Lama Tsongkhapa in the Lamrim Chenmo for the confession practice. This and the so-called Sutra of the Three Heaps, the confession to the 35 Buddhas. Okay, so we got that. Why is this sutra then enabling us to solve all the world's problems? Because in order to do that, right, then we need to cut the root of the problems, which is the ignorant mind grasping to true existence. And so in this sutra, it has it all. It has the means, explained in brief about emptiness, right? Then it has the means also for us to generate bodhicitta. And then it has the means, to purify the previously accumulated merit. So how does that sound? Good? Okay, no false advertising, right? All right. So let's start then with the recitation. And so now I was actually going to, I had on my schedule tomorrow that tomorrow morning I'll wake up. It's 9 p.m. where I am, okay? 9 p.m. on the 7th. So I was like, okay, tomorrow morning I'll have breakfast and then I'll prepare all this stuff and I'll send it out and, you'll have it. But things don't always happen according to plan. Nonetheless, I do have some of the preliminary prayers here. And so I'll do a share screen. Okay, oops. So this I wanted to just go through. So this is a guide to reciting the Sanghatha Sutra. But in any case, any sutra practice, any sutra recitation that we do, the sort of overall advice on how to read the sutra is the same. Okay, so let's just go through this because, yeah, it's good. It'll help our sutra reading then be, that much more powerful, that much more effective. Okay, so when we recite the text, we're offering our bodies to allow the Golden Light Sutra to manifest in this world in its fullest form as a physical sound, a verbal expression, and as mental content. Reading the Golden Light Sutra can be seen as an offering to Buddha and to the sutra itself as a form of purification and as a way to bring all the benefits of the sutra to ourselves and to others who may be within earshot. So here, one thing to know, when they talk about the practice of generosity, then there are, different ways of practicing generosity. There's the practice of generosity of giving material things. Then there's, the protection from fear, and then giving of the Dharma. So when we, even on the street, you'll notice Rinpoche doing this. When he meets animals, he'll often, recite mantras to them. That's one of the main things that is done in the animal liberation practices, where you're allowing the animals to get these imprints, very virtuous imprints. Many of you might know the story of Vasubandhu, who had been living in a cave, and in that cave he was reciting the Abhidharma Kosha, and then there was a pigeon who was living at the sort of entrance of the cave, and the pigeon then got to hear the recitation of the Abhidharma. And so then that pigeon in his next life was born as a human, and then wanted to know where Vasubandhu was so he could go and study with him. And then it is said, this monk, in Tibetan, it's Lodru Tempa, and he actually surpassed even Vasubandhu in his knowledge of the Abhidharma. So now, if you have pets, if you have other beings who can hear around you, right? Bring them close, okay? And then whenever you do these recitations, make sure you do it out loud. And then, as we'll do later, we can even, even if there's no beings we can see around us, we can still visualize that, all sentient beings are in the space around us and we're doing it for them. Okay. All right. So here, this sutra can be recited in any language. So I see there's people from various countries, and this Golden Light Sutra is now translated in many languages. So if you are more comfortable in a language other than English, feel free to recite in that language. Okay. And then, no prerequisites are needed. Although I will advertise that on YouTube, Lama Zopa Rinpoche is giving the oral transmission of the Golden Light Sutra. It's about 5 hours and 45 minutes. But my sort of, hint, request to you would be, in these first 15 days of the new year, then when the merit is multiplied 100 million times, maybe you could, even if not in one sitting, also listen to the transmission of the sutra. It is said that if you receive the transmission of oral transmission or lung of a particular text, then when you recite it, then the benefits are increased 100 times. And then, here the advice is to recite out loud. And I just I was explaining that. And then if we can, as we recite, we can put our palms together while reciting. If you have like a Kindle, you can hold it like that, right? And then here it's saying, you can do the recitation all at once, but doing partial recitations and divide it into many different sessions is also okay. So that's what we're going to, do here. And then many people who have recited with others report they find this more powerful than reciting alone. So yes, it is said that, now with 60 people reciting together, it is said that actually each one of us accumulates the merit of having recited the sutra 60 times. So that's one of the reasons why, at the big monasteries where there's, thousands of monks, doing prayers together, it is said that's, extremely powerful for accumulation of merit and purification. Okay, so now the basic practice for reciting. Okay, so maybe while I was late, you've already done this, right? So you sat quietly, you settled your mind, and then let your heart fill with love and compassion toward all other sentient beings. So especially, all the beings in this world, you can think how many of them aren't in a place where they, have the opportunity to engage in virtuous practice, right? Either, because they're sick, because, bombs are dropping in their city. Maybe they don't have access to the Dharma teachings in a language they can understand. So, all of us with the precious human rebirth, it's just such an amazing opportunity that we have. And so now, for all those other beings, right, not just humans, but every single hell being, every single hungry ghost, every single animal, and then all the, suras and asuras, right? we're doing this for every single one, every single sentient being who has been our mother, our loved one, not just once, but countless times from beginningless samsaric rebirth. In each of those lives, when these sentient beings were our, mother, father, loved one, they completely showered us with kindness, taking care of our material needs, our protection, our education, giving us, food, clothing, shelter. And now that we're in an opportunity, we have the opportunity to do something to benefit them, then we absolutely must do that. Absolutely. Okay, and how do we do that? We don't want, just some mere trifling happiness, but to bring them total peace, lasting happiness, and to take away all their sufferings. And so we're going to dedicate our recitation to developing the inner qualities that will enable us to do that. Means to become fully enlightened Buddhas. Okay. So then these next three contemplations are there. Okay, so while we recite, we can think that we're reciting the sutra to all the beings in the place where you are and all the beings in the 6 realms. Okay, so we can visualize them around us. And then also we can visualize the Buddha in the space in front of us and think that we're receiving the words of the sutra directly from the Buddha. As we hear the word recited, then the meaning is actualized in our mind and we gain perfect understanding. Okay, so you can, cycle through these visualizations as we, do the recitation. Okay. All right. So now, let us do some brief preliminary prayers, and then we'll do the actual sutra recitation. So here, the taking refuge in genuine bodhicitta. All right. So remember, we have visualized our guru in the aspect of Shakyamuni Buddha in the space in front of us. We're visualizing all sentient beings in the space around us. Then reflecting on the qualities of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, reflecting how our guru is the embodiment of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, then aspiring to attain those qualities within ourselves. Then there's only, one chance, and that's to rely totally on the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, the 3 jewels of refuge. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and the other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and the other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and the other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. And so now we have the 7-limb prayer. So many of you will be familiar with this, but basically all of the various limbs present a different practice to either purify previously accumulated negative karma, increase our previously accumulated positive karma, or to establish new roots of virtue, for the first time. And then, at the end, dedicating those merits to enlightenment. So here, please try to reflect on the meaning of these as we go through. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind. I present clouds of every type of offering, actual and imagined. I declare all my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time. So here, we're already going to be, doing the 4 opponent powers. So, please, let's think a little bit deeper here. So, whether we remember it or not, all these negative actions from beginningless time, particularly, the 10 non-virtues, the 5 uninterrupted negative karmas, the 5 nearing uninterrupted negative karmas, all the broken vows, the pratimoksha vows, bodhisattva vows, tantric commitments, and then especially the heaviest negative karma in relation to our guru. So disrespecting our guru, not following the advice, harming the guru in either body and mind. And then, the other negative actions that we've done in relation to the 3 jewels, our parents, our teachers, and so forth. So all of these, from beginning this time, seeing the drawbacks of having performed these actions in the past, in that they will ripen as suffering experiences in the future, and also equally that they serve as the obstacle for us to attain the realizations along the path to enlightenment, then we confess. Okay, next, we rejoice and rejoice in the merit of all holy and ordinary beings. So the ordinary beings, like ourselves, like myself, no realization, particularly no realization of emptiness. And then the holy beings, on the other hand, with realization of emptiness. So especially thinking of all the bodhisattvas, who also have uncontrived bodhicitta. And then, of course, all the Buddhas who completely traverse the path to enlightenment. So thinking how wonderful it is, every time, even, an ordinary being does something virtuous, does something positive, he creates the cause for their well-being in the future. So since we want all sentient beings to have a well-being, then we're very happy when we think about, when we hear about, when we see others engaging in virtue. So next, requesting, please remain until the end of cycle of existence. We offer a throne with a double dorje, crossed vajra like that. And the Guru Buddha accepts our request to remain. And turn the wheel of Dharma for living beings, requesting to teach. We offer a Dharma chakra, golden Dhamma chakra, and think that the Guru has accepted our request to teach. And then I dedicate my own merits and those of all others to the Great Enlightenment. Okay, now the short mandala offering. So those of you who are not familiar, the mandala is a representation of the entire universe. And we don't just think of the universe in an ordinary way, but imagine it as a Buddha field, a pure land of the Buddha. And that we offer to our Guru with the aspiration that may all living beings enjoy this pure land. Means, on 2 levels. One is that they can be reborn in the pure land of the Buddha, right? And the second is, that they are able to establish their own pure land by becoming Buddha. This ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, full continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this is a Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy this pure land. Then this special request for the 3 great purposes. I prostrate and go for refuge to the Guru and the 3 precious gems. Please bless my land. I'm requesting you to immediately pacify all the wrong conceptions, from incorrect devotion to the Guru up to the subtle dual view of the white, red, and dark visions that exist in my mind and the minds of all mother sentient beings. I'm requesting you to immediately generate all the right realizations from Guru devotion up to enlightenment in my mind and in the minds of all mother sentient beings. I'm requesting you to pacify all outer and inner obstacles to actualizing the entire graduated path to enlightenment in my mind and in the minds of all mother sentient beings. So I know it says 3 times, but once, if we did it right, once is enough, okay? Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niratayami. Okay, and so then this mantra to multiply the merit of reciting the sutra by 1 million. Tayata om dare dare ben dare soha. 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 So this is what had been mentioned before. While then we recite, then we can visualize that the Buddha is teaching us directly, and we actualize the realizations, and then we can think that we're also giving these teachings to all the sentient beings that we're visualizing in space around us. Okay. And then as they hear these teachings, they are completely purified of all the delusion, defilements, karma, and suffering. Okay? All right. So now, I thought it better that, do you all have the sutra in your own place? No. I see. Okay. Okay. So what shall we do? Shall I do a screen share with the sutra? Okay. Okay. 1 second. Okay. All right. Let's see. I have only on my Kindle myself. Let's see. Kunpen, do you have the sutra in a PDF?
I'm
No? Okay.
so sorry, and I'm from
No
my
problem.
iPad.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. 1 second. Thank you for your patience. On the FPMT website, you have to, sign in and download it. So I'm doing that now.
Venerable Sayana, the Italian speakers, they have it.
Okay. Okay, thank you for your patience. Okay. So we have about an hour and 10 minutes. I thought to go 2 hours today and see how much we can do tomorrow. How does that sound? Yeah? Okay. So refresh that bodhicitta motivation. The King of Glory Sutra is called the Exalted Sublime Golden Light, a Mahayana Sutra. In the language of India, Arya Survana Prabha Sotama Sutra, Raja Mahayana Sutra. In the language of Tibet, Papa Ser Dampa Do De Wangpo Gyabo Shechawa Tekpa Chimbu Do. Chapter 1. The chapter on the preamble of the King of Glory Sutra is Sublime Golden Light. How much all the past, future, and present Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Pratyeka Buddhas, and Shravaka's? Thus I've heard at one time, the Tathagata, entering the Buddha's domain of experience, the profound sphere of reality of which is speak expounded to the Supreme Bodhisattvas who are pure and stainless. This King of Glory Sutra is the Sublime Golden Light, which is extremely profound upon hearing and profound upon examination. The Buddhas in the four directions confer their blessings from Akshobhya in the east, Ranaketu in the south, Amitabha in the west, and Dundubisvara in the north. In order to extinguish all unwholesome deeds, I will proclaim this auspicious sublime discourse that exhausts all negative karma, grants all peace and happiness, completely eliminates suffering, which is done with all that is glorious and the foundation of omniscience, granting blessings. This I shall explain. Sending beings whose senses are defective, whose life expectancy has ended or is fading, whom the gods have turned against, who are burdened by misfortune, hated by their loved ones, or oppressed by, as household servants in conflict around their afflicted, with decline in material wealth, grief-stricken and miserable, ridden with fears, stricken by poverty, troubled by stars, planetary bodies and fierce demonic spirits, or who see excruciating nightmares, following grief and fatigue, should bathe well to render themselves clean and listen to the Sublime Sutra. Should those with virtuous intent and pure mind adorn themselves well in clean garments and listen to the Sutra and the profound domain of the Buddhist experience through the awe-inspiring power of the Sutra, suffering of all creatures, the likes of which cannot be endured, will be forever pacified. Protection will be offered to them by the guardians of this world, the ministers and army chiefs, the 10 of thousands of names of Yakshas, the great goddess Sravasti, and the goddess who dwells in the Naranjana, by Hediti, the mother of Buddhas, the earth goddess Dirda, by the Brahma kings and the kings of the 33, the powerful king of servants, king of Ganaras, and king of Asuras, likewise by the king of Garudas. They, with their clans and might, will arrive along with their minds, and unbending day and night offer protection to beings. I will clearly expound the Sutra on the profound, the domain of the Buddhist experience, the secret of all Buddhas, difficult to find in tens of millions of eons. Those who hear the Sutra, those who cause others to hear, and who rejoice upon hearing and make offerings to it, for tens of millions of eons shall be venerated by gods and nagas, humans and kinaras, asuras and yakshas. For beings without merit, the soul merit will go into a limitless, incalculable, inconceivable mass. Furiously they were protected by Buddhism and direction. Likewise, also by bodhisattvas engaged in the profound, clad in clean garments, wearing well-perfumed clothes, possessing a mind firm with love, without distraction. One should honor this sutra, render the mind spotless. Put forth effort to make it expansive and intensely clear, and then listen to the Sublime Sutra. Those who listen to the Sutra will be acclaimed among humans, attain an excellent human existence, and live a life of comfort. Those into whose ear the Sublime Discourse is echoed will have merit roots refined, and numerous Buddhas will extol them. This ends the first chapter. The chapter on the preamble to the King of Glory Sutra, Sublime Golden Light. Chapter 2, chapter on the span of Tathagata's life. For the month of time during that period in the great city of Rajgriha, there dwelt the Bodhisattva, the great being Ketu, who had venerated previous Buddhas, cultivated roots of virtue, and rendered service to many hundreds of thousands of millions of Buddhas. He thought to himself, what cause and what condition will cause the Lord Shakyamuni to live for only 8 years? That is such a short life. Furthermore, he thought that his Lord has himself declared there are two causes and two conditions which prolong life. What are the two? They are, namely, renouncing killing, giving food holy. As for the Lord Shakyamuni, he renounced killing for many incalculable hundreds of thousands of millions of years. He perfectly adhered to the path of the 10 virtuous actions. He gave away food and external and internal objects completely. Not only that, he satisfied hungry living beings with the flesh, food, blood, bones, and milk of his own body. Then, while this one being entertained such thoughts, so with regard to the Lord, his house transformed into a vast and expansive palace, made of lavishly with petals with numerous divine jewels. Its color transformed by the Tathagata and filled with perfumes in those of gods. In the four directions emerged 4 thrones made of divine jewels, though these thrones came to be covered with mounts of divine jewels and fine cotton raiment, and on those thrones appeared divine lotuses adorned with numerous jewels, their color transformed by the Buddha. From those lotuses rose 4 transcendent victor Buddhas. In the east appeared the Tathagata Akshobhya, in the south appeared the Tathagata Ranaketu, in the west appeared the Tathagata Amitabha, in the north appeared the Tathagata Dundubisvara, When those Tathagas appeared on those lines, the great city was filled with bright light. That light pervaded all the triple thousand, great thousand world system in 10 directions, and world systems, many as the grains of sand of Ganges River. In addition, divine flowers rained down, and divine music resounded through the power of the Buddha. All sentient beings in triple thousand, great thousand world too became possessed of the Lord of gods. Beings whose senses were incomplete become possessed of complete senses. Beings blind from birth saw forms with the eyes, deaf beings heard sound with the ears. Insane beings regained their sanity, distracted beings became focused, naked beings became clothed in garments, hungry beings became full belly, thirsty beings were cleansed. Beings afflicted with illness became free of disease. Beings whose bodily organs were defective became possessed of complete organs. Many astounding events took place in the world. Upon the seeing those Buddha, the Bodhisattva Vichakatu was greatly astounded. He was satiated, pleased, joyful, and delighted, feeling happy and ecstatic. With hands folded in the direction of the Tathagata, he bowed in homage, remembering those Tathagatas, then reflecting on the qualities of the Tathagata Shakyamuni Buddha. He was vexed with misgiving about the lifespan of the Tathagata Shakyamuni Buddha. He wondered how is it that the Lord Shakyamuni will live a brief life of only 80 years. Those Tathagatas, while knowing and realizing himself, spoke to him thus: "O child of noble family, do not think the Lord Shakyamuni will have such a short lifespan. Why? Because, O child of noble family, except for the perfectly enlightened conqueror Tathagatas, we do not see any among the worlds of gods, Mars, or Brahmins, among ascetics and Brahmins. God's human or anyone who would perceive the fullest furthest future reaches of the lifespan of the Tathagata Lord Shakyamuni. As soon as the Tathagatas expressed this observation on the lifespan of the Tathagata Shakyamuni Buddha, then by the power of the Tathagata, gods residing in the desired realm forms, including Nagas, Yakshas, Gandharvas, Asuras, Garudas, Kinaras, and Mahoragas, as well as numerous hundreds of thousands of millions of bodhisattvas gathered and went to the house of the Bodhisattva Rucharaketu. Then those Tathagatas proclaimed in verse the explanation of the lifespan of the Tathagata Shakyamuni to the entire gathering. The drops of water and all the ocean can be measured, but no one can measure the lifespan of Shakyamuni. To the finest particle, the atoms of Mount Sumeru can be gauged, but no one can gauge the lifespan of Shakyamuni. The number of finest particles existing on this earth can be measured, but not the span of the Tathagata's life. Although through some device one may wish to measure space, no one can measure the lifespan of Shakyamuni. The number cannot be found that explains the fully enlightened Buddha lives as long. This many eons in eon terms, such as 100 million eons. There are two causes for this and two conditions for this: renouncing deadly violence and repeatedly giving plentiful food. The finite count of the lifespan of this great being that explains he will live for this many eons cannot be found. The ends indeed are uncountable. Hence, have no doubt, not even says that the finite limit of the conqueror's life is not observed anywhere. Then at that time in that assembly, the Brahmin teacher and expounder called Karyana, along with numerous thousands of Brahmins, venerated the Tathagata. On hearing the voice of those great Tathagatas, completely gone beyond sorrow, they gathered in that place at once, bowing at the feet of the Tathagata. Brahmin teacher and expounder Karyana said to the Tathagata, "If the Lord transcendent victor is merciful to all living beings, compassionate, desirous of serving, apparent to all, equal to the unequal, illuminating like the moon, wisdom and knowledge glowing like the sun. If you look upon all beings as your son Rahula, then please give me some guidance." The Tathagata remained silent. Then through the power of the Tathagata in that assembly, confidence grew in a Livishi youth called Sarva Logya Darshana, and he spoke thus to the Brahmin teacher and expounder Kadinya. "Why do you seek guidance, great Brahmin, from the Buddha? I will give you the guidance you seek." The Brahmin said, "For the sake of honoring all the Buddha, Livachi youth, and for the sake of receiving a share of relic powder, I wish to have a relic of the Buddha the size of a mere mustard seed, It is said that if one honors a relic the size of a mustard seed, one attains lordship over the gods of the 33. Listen, O Chavi youth, to the King of Sutra's which has features and qualities such as being difficult for all Shavakas and practical Buddhists to know and comprehend. Only the Chavi youth, the Sutra of Samangolan is in this way difficult to know and difficult to comprehend. Hence, we Brahmins of remote areas wish to have a relic the size of a mustard seed, which when held, either placed in a bowl or kept on the body, causes living beings to attain lordship over the gods of the 33. Why wouldn't you, oh, the Vachi youth, wish to receive a relic the size of a mustard seed from the Tathagata and keep it in urn so that living beings may attain lordship over the gods of the 33? Oh, Lichavi, I seek such a boon. Then, Asava Loka Darshana, the Lichavi youth replied in verse to the Brahmin teacher and expounder Kandinya. When white lilies grow in Ganges with currents, when crows become red, and cuckoos turn the color of conch, when palm fruit grows on the rose apple tree, and on the date tree mangoes form. At that time, a relic the size of a mustard seed will appear. When from tortoise hail, clothing, cloth, shielding winter's bite can be woven well, then there will be a relic. When from the legs of gnats, multi-story towers can be well built, solidly firm and never shaking, then there will be a relic. When all leeches grow white teeth sharp and big, then there will be a relic. When from the horns of rabbits ladders can be built well, in order to climb high, then there will be a relic. Climbing this ladder should a mouse eat the moon and harm Rahu as well, then there will be a relic. When bees that buzz in towns drink a pitcher of wine and make a dwelling in the house, then there will be a relic. When donkeys become happy, well versed in singing and dancing, their lips ruddy like the bimbo fruit, then there will be a relic. When owls and crows flock to solitude, frolic together and become friendly, then there will be a relic. When the leaves of the palasha tree become an umbrella made of 3 jewels that keeps off the rain, then there will be a relic. When large ocean vessels fitted with turning devices and sails float and set sail on land, then there will be a relic. When owls move freely, lifting the Gandhamadana mountain in their beaks, and there will be a relic. After hearing these verses, the Brahmin teacher expounded Kaundinya reply to Sarva Loka Pridaya Darshana, the Lichavi youth, excellent, supreme youth, son of the Buddha, great orator, heroic and skillful means. You have received this fine prophecy. Listen to me, O youth, concerning the inconceivable greatness of Tathagata, the protector and savior of the world. The realm of Buddha is inconceivable, and the Tathagatas are peerless. All Buddhas are serene. All Buddhas are perfectly emerged. All Buddhas are of the same hue. This is the essence of Buddhas. The Lord transcended victor is uncontrolled. The Tathagatas alone in his body, hard as a vajra, manifest emanated forms. Thus, no relic small as a mustard seed of the great sages to be found. Since his body is without blood and bone, how could there be a relic yet? To benefit living beings, skillfully relics are formed. Dharmakaya, the complete Buddha. Dharmadhatu, the Tathagata, akin to the deed of teaching Dharma. These are the body of the Lord. Because I heard and knew this, I sought this sublime gift to make this truth plain and clear. Thus I initiated this discourse. Then, having heard such profound explanation of the Tathagata's span of life, all 32,000 sons of the gods generated altruistic resolve for fearless and perfect enlightenment, their minds filled with intense joy. They spoke these verses in a single voice. The Buddha does not enter complete nirvana, neither does Dharma cease to be. Yet for the ripening beings, Tathagata manifest, passing beyond suffering. The transcendent victor Buddha is inconceivable, though the Tathagata's body is permanent. It pervades a multitude of forms for the welfare of ascending beings. Having heard these discourses explain the lifespan of Tathagata, Shakyamuni performed these Tathagatas in 2 great beings. The Bodhisattva Ruchi was thoroughly satiated, pleased, extremely delighted, and filled with joy. He was overwhelmed with great bliss of mind. While this discourse on the Tathagata span of life was being given, inconceivable countless sentient beings generated the altruistic resolve for peerless and perfect enlightenment. Then those Tathagatas vanished in that very spot. This ends the 2nd chapter. Chapter on the span of Tathagata's life, from the King Glory to just Sublime Golden Light. Remember to drink so your throat remains wet. Chapter 3, the chapter on seeing the dream. Then the Bodhisattva Rinpoche sitting to sleep. He dreamed he saw a golden drum, his light shining like the orb of the sun. In every direction, countless inconceivable numbers of Tathagatas were preaching the Dharma. Seated on lavazone at the foot of jewel trees, completely surrounded by numerous hundreds of thousands of retinues. Then he saw a being in the form of a Brahmin beating the drum. From the sound of the drum, these and similar confessional verses issued forth. Then the Bodhisattva woke and remembered those verses at once. Having remembered those verses, when night came to an end, he, along with many thousands of beings, left the great city of Vajragriha. He rather largest people the Tathagata was, having reached there, he prostrated himself at the feet of the Tathagata, serving under the Tathagata 3 times, sat to one side. Sitting to one side, the Bodhisattva Ruchi bowed to the Tathagata with hands folded in respect and recited those confessional verses he heard coming forth from the drum. This ends the 3rd chapter, the chapter on seeing the dream, from the King Glory Sutra, the Sublime Golden Light. So, by the way, these are the confessional verses that Lama Zopa mentions. That is very good for confession. Chapter 4, chapter on confession. One night, without distraction, I dreamed the vision dream. I saw a large and beautiful drum filling the world with golden light and glowing like the sun, being brightly to all places. It was seen from 10 directions. Everywhere Buddhas were seated on thrones of precious lapis at the foot of jewel trees, facing assemblies of many hundreds of thousands. I saw a form like that of a Brahmin refusely beat upon the drum. When he struck it, these verses issued forth. By the sound of this majestic drum of golden light made the suffering of lower migration, Yama, and the poverty of the lower realms of the triple thousand worlds cease to be. I'm sorry, these are the verses on Bodhicitta. They start with this one, by the sound of this majestic drum. By the sound of this majestic drum, may the ignorance of the world be dispelled. With fears quelled, not just as vanquishing sages are unafraid. May ascended beings become fearless and brave. Just as the omniscient vanquishing sage in the world is possessed of every excellence of the Aryas. May countless beings too possess ocean of qualities, concentration, and wings of enlightenment by the sound of this majestic drum. May all beings be endowed with the melody of Brahma. May they touch the sublime enlightenment of Buddhas. May they turn the virtuous wheel of Dharma remaining for eons. May they teach Dharma to guide migrating beings. Conquering illusion, overcoming affliction, may their attachment, hatred, and ignorance be pacified. May sending beings who have fallen to low migrations, whose body are born are light with blazing flame, hear the speech of this majestic drum. May their proclamation, homage to the Tathagata, be heard. In the course of hundreds of births and tens of thousands and millions of births, may every being remember their former lives, hear these teachings completely, and always recall the vanquishing sages. By the sound of the majestic drum, may all beings find the company of Buddhas. Thoroughly in renouncing every harmful life, may they engage only in virtuous deeds for humans, gods, and all creatures, whatever thoughts and wishes they have. May their wish be totally fulfilled by the sound of the majestic drum. For beings in the most terrible hells, bodies alive with blazing flame, who wander without aim, bereft of refuge, filled with griefs, may tormenting fires utterly end. For those who bear the suffering of humans, hell beings, animals, and hungry ghosts, may every suffering be completely dispelled by the sound of this majestic drum. For those who are without refuge, without base, support or friend, may I become the supreme refuge, their base, their support and friend, surrounded by pairs, all Buddhas, dwelling in the worlds of tender actions with merciful compassion of mind. Please pay attention to me. All Buddhas possess of the 10 powers, those wicked acts, terrible wicked acts I've committed in the past before your eyes, I confess them all. Whatever unwholesome deeds I've done, not holding parents as parents, not holding Buddhas as Buddhas, not upholding virtuous deeds, whatever unwholesome deeds I've done, haughty with the vanity of wealth, haughty with age and evils, haughty with the pride of influence and pride, whatever unwholesome deeds I've done, through harmful thoughts, harmful words, the thought of harmless, and harmful actions done, whatever unwholesome deeds I've done, acting with the mind of a child, mind, dark with ignorance, or in this way, the non-virtuous friend, greatly charged with emotion, discontent with wealth, afflicted with depression and malaise, or under the impulse of frivolous play. Whatever unwholesome deeds I've done through mixing with vicarious and minor as through jealousy and miserliness, through poverty and guile. Whatever unwholesome deeds I've done when poverty came to me, fearing loss of the desirable and stricken with the dearth of material goods. Whatever unwholesome deeds I've done under the power of a flighty mind, ruled by desire and hatred, or oppressed by hunger and thirst. Whatever unwholesome deeds I've done when oppressed by affliction, for the sake of pursuing women, of acquiring food, drink, and attire. Through mysteries of the body, speech, and mind, I have amassed threefold wrong acts. In these three ways, whatever I've done, these I confess in full. Whatever I've done, disrespecting the Buddhas, the Dharma, and the Shravakas too, these deeds I confess in full. Actions I've done lacking respect to practical Buddhas as well as to the Bodhisattvas, these deeds I confess in full. Disrespect I have shown to those who preach the Dharma. Likewise, contempt of the Dharma itself, these deeds I confess in full. Continuing unaware of its benefit, I have rejected the sublime Dharma. I have shown unwitting insolence to parents. These deeds I confess in full. Childish and veiled by stupidity, blind with desire and hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and pride. These deeds I confess in full. Honoring those who possess the 10 powers. I shall worship those dwelling in all directions. I shall deliver sinning beings inhabiting every realm from all suffering. I shall place uncountable beings upon the Bodhisattva's 10 grounds. Abetting the 10 stages may all become Tathagatas, until I am capable of freeing them all from countless oceans of suffering. For 10 million eons I shall strive for the sake of even one sentient being. To these sentient beings I shall reveal the sutra called the Sublime Golden Light, which rids one from every harmful misdeeds and expounds upon the profound. Those who for 1,000 eons committed deadly unwholesome deeds by confessing them earnestly once through the sutra, all will be purified. Swiftly and wholly consuming all karmic obscurations by making confession through the Sublime Golden Light, I shall abide in the 10 Bodhisattva grounds, those mines of supreme precious jewels, that I may shine with the Tathagatas, marks and signs and free beings from the ocean of existence. Through Buddhas who were the water of the oceans, their inconceivable Tathagata qualities akin to those in profound depth, I shall evolve into an omniscient being. Becoming a Buddha, I shall possess 10 powers, hundreds of thousands of concentration, inconceivable magical mantra incantations, enlightenment, 7 wings, the 5 powers and 5 forces. All Buddhas who continue to look upon beings, I request you to gaze intensely upon me, your compassionate minds always overflowing. May you hold your merciful always near. Due to countless sinful actions, Forming hundreds of eons past, my mind is pierced and stricken with grief, wretchedness, sorrow, and fear. Solemnly fearing one of these, I shall always keep my mind honest. Wherever I commit the smallest action, I will not succumb to frivolous excitement, since Buddhas are compassion and dispel the pride of all beings. I entreat them to hold the remorseful fast and free us from every fear. May the Tathagatas keep at bay my negative karma and emotion. May the Buddhas always bathe me with the water of their compassion. I confess all unwholesome deeds, whatever I've done in the past, whatever is done in the present. These deeds I confess in full. I shall not conceal or hide harmful actions I have done. In future times I shall refrain from deeds that render me full of shame. So that is the fourth opponent power, to think that one is going to refrain from doing those actions in the future. 3 actions of the body, full of the voice. 3-fold of mind, these I confess in full. Actions I've done through body and speech, clearly impelled by the mind. Those 10-fold actions I accomplish, these I confess in full. Renouncing the 10 unwholesome deeds and cultivating 10 which are more, I will come to abide in 10 grounds and acquire the Buddhist 10 great powers. Every unwholesome deed I've done that leads to unwanted results in the presence of the Buddhas, these deeds I confess in full. In the wholesome, virtuous deeds of those dwelling in Jagadiva and those living in other worlds too, in these deeds I rejoice. Likewise, whatever merit I gathered through body, speech, and mind by the force of this virtue's ripening effect may supreme enlightenment be attained. These committed on samsara's precarious wheel, those actions influenced by a childish mind approaching the presence of the peerless 10 powers, all these deeds I confess individually. Through feeble birth, feeble existence, feeble will, and feeble volatile mind. Multitudes of physical action, the mass of evil deeds I confess in full. Wretched with delusion of childish and foolish, wretched to associate with non-virtuous friends, wretched with existence, wretched with desire, wretched with hatred, wretched with ignorance, wretched with fatigue, wretched with time, and wretched in accomplishing virtue. I oppose the incomparable conquerors and confess all negative deeds individually. I prostrate to the Buddha, ocean of virtue, golden like monsoon road. Going forever I bow my head in prostrations of golden conquerors. Their compassionate light dispels the double mantle of darkness. Buddhas are the sun, blazing glorious from their renown, golden in color, eyes fine as pure faultless lapis. They glow with the glitter of pure gold. Their exquisite and beautiful limbs are utterly flawless and perfectly formed. From pristine limbs, the Buddha's sun radiates shafts of golden light, consumed by the flame of negative passion, sending beams blaze like fire. They are reflected and soothed by the moonlight light of Buddhas. 32 major monks render their senses exquisitely refined. Their awe-inspiring limbs are graced by 80 minor signs, filled with merit and glory. Like splendid rays of spinning light, they orbit as does the sun in the darkness of the true realms, pure as lapis with an array of rich color, exquisitely adorned with myriad webs of light. Your limbs resemble the crystal, silver and crimson of dawn like the sun. O sages, you are enchantingly glorious. For those fallen into the great river of second existence, tossed amidst crushing waves of sorrow and death, may abundance immense rays of the sun that is the Tathagata deplete the ocean of samsara, violent and cruel, with limbs shining brightly the color of gold. Their wisdom source fearless among the 3 realms. Their limbs are adorned with the intensely charming marks. I prostrate to the Buddha whose bodies sparkle gold, just as the water knows and cannot be measured, just as the dust on earth is utterly without and just as Mount Sumeru possesses much as stone, and the edge of space is infinitely unknown. Likewise, the virtues of the Buddhas are limitless. If any reads with the measure of the qualities and for constantly reflected upon them, still the extent of their virtue cannot be seen. If counted for eons, one may possibly know water drops of hair ants, or particles of the earth, mountain, oceans, and rocks, but not the limit of Buddha's virtue. May sentient beings dissolve into such Buddha's grace with virtue, color, fame, and renown. Their bodies embellished with major marks of goodness and the sublime 80 minor signs. Through these virtues, I shall soon become a Buddha, of preaching the doctrine of the kinds of world. I shall free beings forever afflicted by suffering. I shall triumph over Ma with his army and might. I shall turn the wheel of virtuous Dharma, abiding for inconceivable eons. I shall satisfy sending beings with the water of Dharma nectar, just conquerors of the past completed 6 perfections. These perfections I too shall fully achieve. My ignorance, hatred, and desire pacified. I shall conquer delusion and dispel pain. I shall always remember my former births, hundreds of existences, and 10 millions of lives. Always recalling the vanquishing sages, I shall listen to their teaching in full. Through these virtuous actions, I shall always find the company of Buddhas. Accomplishing virtue, the source of every excellence. I shall thoroughly renounce unwholesome deeds. May the creatures of samsara various realms be at peace without the measure of their worlds. May beings who lack sense faculties or hold defective ones be endowed with powers complete. For beings feeble in body, afflicted with disease, and all the 10 directions devoid of defense. May they swiftly be free of their ailments, obtain perfect senses, strength, and good health. For those imperiled by threats or death or from kings or thugs, tormented by numerous hundreds of afflictions, may these beings wretched be with sorrow, be free from hundreds of horrific fears. For those who are tortured, bound, and beaten, distressed by passion or captured by delusion, may these beings free from face with sorrow, be free from the shackles of bondage. May those who are beaten find freedom from beating. May those facing murder be endowed with life. May those who are feeble be without fear. May beings tortured by hunger, craving, and thirst immediately find a wealth of food and drink. May the blind see abundance of forms and deaf hear captivating sounds. May the naked find plentiful attire, and the poor find mines of treasure. Through wealth of riches, grain, and jewels, may beings be endowed with serenity and joy. May no being face the pain of affliction. May all beings be attractive and handsome, endowed with exquisite, beautiful, auspicious forms. May every life be replete with infinite joy. As soon as they wish, may there immediately be food, drink, great affluence, and merit. Large drum, lutes, and piwang, springs, schools, waterholes, and ponds, imbued with blue and golden lotuses. Likewise, may they receive at once food, drink, clothing, and wealth. Gems like lapis, golden ornaments, pearls, and jewels may no sound or be heard anywhere in the world. And while not being in poor health be seen, instead may beings have great complexion. In each other's radiance may they mutually shine. Whatever forms of excellence there are in the world, wherever they are wished for, may these come to be. The moment they arise through the ripening of virtue, may the aspiration of sinning beings be fulfilled. May perfume, incense, garland, ornaments, clothing, powder, and abundant flowers rain down from trees of 3 times. Thus may sinning beings be filled with joy. May they venerate inconceivable topic others in all 10 words, including Bodhisattvas, Shavakas, and likewise flawless pristine Dharma. May migrating beings avoid the lower realms. May they go beyond 8 unfortunate states. May they attain the inauspicious conditions. May meetings with Buddha be always received. Always born in higher classes, may beings be replete with wealth and grain. Poor numerous hands, may they be endowed with a great form, renown, complexion, and fame. May all women become like men, heroic, learned, losing and strong, and endeavor to complete the six directions. May they incessantly strive for enlightenment. May they come to behold Buddhism generations seated at ease upon precious lapis thrones, under bejeweled, exquisite, stately trees. May they hear the Buddha's Dharma as I explained. Unwholesome deeds are performed past and created in wretched existence past. May those negative effects which ripen due to deeds be completely extinguished. May those beings who are tied to existence, tightly bound by the rope of the cyclic round, unravel their bondage with a wisdom hand and quickly be freed from all suffering. Whatever beings here in Jagadiva and other world spheres too perform virtuous acts in these deeds, I rejoice in full. Through the merit of actions of body, speech, and mind, rejoicing in other virtue, may every fruit of my prayers and practice unfold. May pristine peace and enlightenment be attained. Those who resist this dedication, who prostrate with unsoiled mind, always avoid and free of stains, shall avoid the terrible rebirth for 60 eons. By reciting these prayers and verses, men, women, Brahmins, and royals who praise conquerors with whole folded hands will remember their births in every life. They shall receive bodies adorned with complete limbs and senses, myriad merits and virtue. Lord of humans, always honor them. Oh, honor them always. Such will they be in each place of birth. Into those into whose ear this confession enters have not performed virtue under just one Buddha, not 2, nor 4, nor 5, nor 10, nor in the presence of merely 1,000 Buddhas have they completed virtue. This ends the 4th chapter of the chapter on confession from the King of Glory, Sri Supreme Golden Light.
Venerable Namjong La.
Oh, yes?
I think today, maybe tomorrow we can go longer, but I think today everybody's mind is on 1.5 hours. So I think people might have made plans. Is that okay? It seems quite inauspicious to interrupt, but maybe everybody wants to also dedicate together. And then tomorrow we can have our minds on a longer recitation. You think that's okay?
Yes, that's okay. And I was actually wondering, because I don't think we'll even finish tomorrow. So you can all think whether we want to continue subsequent days or anyway, think about it. Okay, but let us end here. And while we end, or before we end, there's something else I wanted to do. So let me share this. So first thing, there's another mantra that we recite at the end, and this multiplies it by 100,000 times. Okay. So here, Gadara Vidara Soha Ratna Shakona Tatagataya Apratihata Shasanam Om Kaka Kai Kai Hun Hun Zola Zola Tikita Tikita Pepe Soha. Okay. And so now let's dedicate. So first, actually it's good that we think that, all those beings that we visualize in the space in front of us and around us, they're now completely purified of all their negative karma, all their suffering, all their obscurations, full liberation, enlightenment. Okay, so now first to actualize bodhicitta, we do these dedications. So due to all the past, present, future merits collected by me, and all the merits of the 3 times collected by numberless Buddhas and numberless sentient beings, may bodhicitta be generated in the hearts of all the sentient beings of the 6 realms, and especially in the hearts of everybody in this world, including all the students, benefactors, and volunteers in the FPMT organization. May be generated in the hearts of all those who rely upon me, all those for whom I promise to pray, and all those whose names have been given to me. May be generated in my heart and in the hearts of all my family members, those who are living and those who have died. May the bodhicitta that has already been generated increase. And as Lama Zopa Rinpoche, he often adds, that especially bodhicitta be generated in the hearts of all the, world leaders. So all the political leaders, all those in positions of power. And then, of course, having generated the mind of bodhicitta, may their every action be only to the utmost benefit of all the sentient beings, and may they never do anything that causes even the slightest harm to a single sentient being. Next, we can dedicate for the long lives of our spiritual friends. So first for His Holiness Dalai Lama. Incomparably kind and supreme Tenzin Gyatso, the granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, may you have a long life and all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. So are you getting this in the screen share? These dedications? Okay. Then for the long life of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, you who uphold the subduer's moral way, who serve as a bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjunatha's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplished magnificent prayers, honoring the 3 sublime ones, Savior, myself, and others, your disciples. Please live long. So now we seal our dedication with the understanding of the ultimate nature of phenomena, their emptiness of true existence. So due to all the past, present, future merits collected by me, the numberless Buddhas and numberless sentient beings, which are completely empty of existing from their own side, may I, who am completely empty of existing from my own side, achieve the state of full enlightenment, which is completely empty of existing from its own side, and lead all sentient beings who are completely empty of existing from their own side to that state, which is completely empty of existing from its own side, by myself alone, who am completely empty of existing from my own side. These next 2 verses are from the King of Prayers, so they contain all of the hundreds of thousands of bodhisattva aspirations. I fully dedicate all these virtues to be able to train just like the hero Manjushri who knows reality, and just like Samatha as well. I fully dedicate all my roots of virtue. With the dedication, praise is the best, but all the gone beyond victorious ones of 3 times in order to have good conduct. And then for the teachings of Lama Tsongkhapa to spread in the hearts of all sentient beings. For the Dharma King Tsongkhapa's way of Dharma to flourish, may all signs of obstacles be pacified and all conducive conditions be complete. Due to the 2 types of merit of the 3 times of myself and others, may the teachings of the victorious one, the Losar Dakpa, shine resplendent forever. And could we also just take a moment and let's dedicate. So due to all the three-time merit accumulated by ourselves, as well as all three-time merit accumulated by numberless sentient beings and numberless Buddhas, so all those beings who have died. So whether due to war, whether due to disease, whatever condition caused their death, all these beings who are currently in the bardo, may they instantly be reborn in a pure land where they can achieve enlightenment, or may they again attain a perfect human rebirth, meet with a Mahayana Guru and the Mahayana Dharma, practice well in their life, in their next life, and thereby attain enlightenment in their very next lifetime. And we can also dedicate for all the beings who are sick. So all these beings who are sick, may they quickly be freed from all their ailments. And then more generally, all these various diseases that we hear about, may they instantly disappear from the world and never occur again. And then let's also dedicate, in particular, for the war in the Ukraine to end right this second. And then all of the million plus refugees, may they be able to go back to their homes with dignity and be able to rebuild their homes and their lives. So like that. Okay. I think that's it for now. I will, share these files with you.
Thank you so much, Venerable Namjong. So we have put a direct link now in the chat for the English. Yes, so you don't have to go through the FPMT shop, although there is a $0 option, but some people don't like to go through that, so we put the English and we have it then tomorrow. If you don't want to go through that process and you have another language request, we can do it for you and we can put that in the chat tomorrow as well. Just let us know tomorrow morning and put your languages in, and we go through the process of with $0 sale option, and then we have all those sutras available. Yeah. Venerable Namjong, did that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, because there are so many sutras on the FPMT shop. I think some people, maybe I got confused. I was like, oh, where am I? And there's so many resources and so many languages. It's quite amazing. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm now just sharing those preliminaries to sutra reading, as well as that dedication chakra mantra. So now everyone has those. I've shared it in the chat.
Great.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I'm realizing, it might be a bit quick for people, especially if English isn't your first language. So I had this thought, when the oral transmission is given and when we recite the sutras in the monastery, it's very, very quick. So I'm trying to balance, being able to finish more. But we can slow down. And if you're open, we can do it on, subsequent days, 90-minute sessions until we finish. Can we do that?
Yes, that would be great.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so then we can relax. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Good. I was like, we got through like 30 pages today. I'm like, I had a plan to get through it tomorrow, but by tomorrow. But anyway, it's good. Okay, so we'll leave it at that then. Anything else?
Thank you so much, Venerable Namjong, for joining us from your holidays at home. And we see you tomorrow. It will be again 12 o'clock noon in India, and whatever that is in your own country. And then we continue the sutra from there, and Venerable Namjong will give us more hints and how to read the sutra. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Venerable Namjong.
Thank you, Kumpen, and thank you, really, all of you who have, joined. It's really something amazing to rejoice about. And just one little advertising, because sometimes people can come the first day and then they don't come the second day. Since this is one of Rinpoche's very deep wishes that he has, then, we're fulfilling our Guru's wishes. And then it becomes the most profound, powerful practice. So all of us should really rejoice, those of you who are, students of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And
Okay.
remember, it's the days of miracles, so all the merit is multiplied 100 million times, as it says in the Sutras. So please join us tomorrow again, and we'll read further. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.